Alright, so we're back. Building the dollhouse again. I got all the windows marked off and the floors all the way across. If you didn't see that video, go ahead and look it up. It's the one it's going to be the one in this series of videos in this playlist before this one. So, how we did that, we used the laser level tool, and yes, it looks differently today than it did in that video. And that's because I have it set vertically. So, what are we doing today? Today we're lining up, we're centering where we want the windows and the doors on the vertical axes. It's going to be very similar to what we did with the windows, the horizontal lines, but vertical. So, to do this, you're going to have to find the length or the width of the panel that you're working with. If you want to put windows in it or doors in it, find the total width of it with a handy dandy ruler. I recommend a machinist ruler if you can get one. I got this at Harbor Freight for really cheap. If you don't have one that's that big, you know, this one, a small little 1 foot stick is probably the best idea for these smaller areas, but definitely buy one of these long ones. You need those in your shop, at least one. So one of the things I want to talk about, you got to pay attention to things like this. I left a little overhang here to make it look like a roof, so pay attention to things like that, because if you measure this piece, know that it's not going to be the same as this one. So I just used the standard measurement from this one, measured from this side, because both these sides are flush and the same. So measured off of there, I calculated, based on this width down here, where to mark out the center, the 1/4 and the 3/4 lines. And that's the lines I'm going to put the windows on, there, and then this is going to be a center so I can line things up for like the roof that I'm going to install over here, the little awning. So that I'll be able to center on there if I need to, or anything else if I need a center. I'll have a center line, so that's convenient. So yeah, do things like that. As far as calculating it, if you're not good with doing math in your head, this is a tool you also need in your shop. So I measured it at 27.5 inches. Okay, so to make ease of finding these quarter and half marks, we know that 1/4 is 0.25. So we take that, let's get that back in focus. We take that number and then we multiply it by 0.25, and there in inches is how many inches from your 0 mark is 1/4. To get back again, since we multiplied it, divide it by 0.25, and then you have your full length again. To find your half, this mark, not this one, because I messed that up, didn't pay attention to this overhang. To get to your half, you're going to multiply by 0.5. So that's how many inches from there to there. That's halfway. Same thing, to get back, divide by 0.5 because we just multiplied by it. There's your full length, and then multiply by 0.75 to get your 3/4 mark right there. That's how many inches from there to there is 3/4 of your distance, your total width. So that's a good way to do that, a good little handy trick. Let's go back, divide by 0.75. There we go, the full distance, divide it up. Now I have my mark on the top. I measured the same way on the bottom, so now all I have to do is shoot lines between these two marks with the laser level in the vertical position, and then I can mark all the way down using my straight edge machinist rule. I'm going to do the same thing over here so I can center these windows on these panels. So once I get to the laser portion, then I will turn the camera back on and show you guys that. So I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so we're back. We got the laser fired up. Got all the marks laid out on all the sides where I want to mark vertical lines at. So you can see this is a little bit off between the two, but what you gotta do at this point is rotate the head just a little bit. Now this is kind of hokey. When it's upright, it's not hard, to adjust the angle because you just use these little adjustment screws. But this way, to point it from your top and bottom line, you have to move the stand. There's no way to, do it this way when it's on the vertical axis. So it does work, and as long as you get the laser lined up with the bottom line and the top line, then you can mark, your two little tick marks here, and then you have something to go off of with your straight edge. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm going to line those up and do all of these and mark them off. So that's the limit of this tool. If you're coming here, because when I do a review of this tool after using it for this purpose, I'm going to list these things and talk about these certain things. This is the limit of this tool. If it's in the vertical position, you can't swivel it this way on the head. There's no way to do it. This raises it up and down, and then there's a locking mechanism to stop it from going up and down. So there's that. You'll have to move the stand, the tripod. But get it lined up, you have a laser line. $60, not expensive. Normally I think you'd pay like $150 for something like this, which is crazy, especially for a good one. I'll talk more about that in the review. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to line up the top and bottom marks, line it up with each of those, put my little tick marks so that I can get at it with my straight edge and make sure that I have a nice top and bottom line. So I will be back in a second. So as I'm doing this, I realize you can make it go like this if you need to, pivot on this axis. You cannot make it turn like this, which would be very convenient. So then you wouldn't have to move the piece. Luckily, I'm going to put dollies on it so that I can roll it around, but I put my car creeper that I made underneath of it. So I could move the dollhouse around, and there's going to be slight oddities, imperfections in your dollhouse, no matter how perfect you try to make it, unless you have a CNC machine. And even then, I think you're going to have some wiggle room for kinds of things. So some of these are like a 1/4 inch cockeyed here and there, or 1/8 of an inch. So I had to do some adjusting. If you want to adjust it easily, I would say set the top and then do these bottom two screws equally at the same time. So if you turn this one 1/4 turn, you want to turn this one 1/4 turn, and that will adjust it this way if you need it, this like that. Hit the laser there. If you're drawing lines on the floor with this thing, you're not going to want to draw a line right underneath that has a blind spot. What else to say about that? Okay, so I didn't have to do it here. I can put one straight edge across this whole surface. That's why I'm doing this, because I can't put a straight edge between there and down there. So I want the tick marks along this corner so that I can do the straight edge between the two. I have a good meeting point right there. This one I could do that, but I went ahead anyways and put a little tick mark in the middle, widthwise and lengthwise, so that if I can't fit my straight edge all the way in there, I can get most of the way to give myself a good center line to line up my windows. So the next step is going to be measuring the other windows that I made, these ones, with a caliper, and then I will take that length and basically scribe out, or the width. I'll take the width, because I have the length right there. That's the length. I'll take the width and I'll scribe out how wide I want them, and I'll center them on that center line. So that's what I'm going to work on. Real quick, something I thought about while I'm drawing these lines on here. Why am I doing it this way? Why am I going through all the trouble after I built it? Why didn't I just cut out the windows beforehand? Well, the one thing I talked about already is you're going to have the oddities no matter how perfect you think you can get it. Everything's not going to quite line up. Everything's going to be like an inch off, or not an inch, like an eighth of an inch, 16th of an inch. It's not going to be completely square. Also, when I started doing this, cutting these big panels that I couldn't fit on my table saw, you know, to get these were big full sheets of plywood. To get these cut in down to this size to easily work with them on my table saw, I have to cut them with a circular saw, and they weren't quite square. So I hadn't heard about building a door board like this that allows me to cut it nice and straight, pretty much like I have a panel saw. So some of these on here, some of these panels weren't cut exactly square, and it kind of messed some things up. You can see this gap up here. This panel is nice and square, this one is not. And that's why this one is sitting on there kind of like that, and that gap opened up. So I have little slight imperfections that I'm going to work into it. I'm not going to, you know, start again because some of these parts are glued on here, and it's pretty much impossible. But I'm improving as I go, and on the next one, it's definitely going to be more square. It's going to be better. But basically, trying to figure out how to build one and work through the process without having much information, I'm at the point now where I have to cut windows in the front that I could have done before if I knew exactly what I was doing. So I'm learning as I go, and I'm teaching you guys as I learn as I go. So because the things aren't square, I didn't cut out, and I didn't exactly know what the design was. I didn't cut out the windows before. If I have a design that I'm going to repeat, so I can take this one, know how I did it, measure it, and repeat the process if I'm going to sell them, I could go ahead and cut out the windows, use that other one, this one as a template to make the other ones. So that's why I'm doing this. So this is how I'm going to do my windows on the front to get them to match the size of these windows. I already have them lined up with the top and bottom of these for each floor, so they should be the same distance off the floor all the way across. Okay, so the windows that I want to make this size, or based on this size, I'm going to do this. I have my digital caliper available at Harbor Freight. It's Pittsburgh brand. These are pretty nifty. I recommend having one, maybe not this one. It does work. It works quite well, but maybe you want a different brand. They have different brands. These are really cheap, and I just needed one so that I could do work. So that's why I bought this one. Alright, so we're going to turn it on with the on-off button here. It is zeroed. It's in millimeters. So we're going to switch it to inches. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. We'll do millimeters. I like, if I'm doing precise measurements, I like millimeters. So we're going to roll it out using the inside portion of the caliper. So hard to do with one hand. But you get the gist of it. So we're going to make this in here. We're going to get that measurement. I'm going to pause and get that measurement. Alright, so we have the measurement right there, and that is 75.55. If you're making a Monster High dollhouse, there's the width of your windows to scale, approximately. That's what I went with, at least. Alright, so we're going to take this number, punch it into the nerd computer, the calculator, and we're going to find half of that, okay? So, remember that number, 75.55. We are going to find half of that and then go off of the center line that I scribed and mark out the outside lines. And how I'm going to do the same process, I'm going to repeat the same process so that I have repeatability and don't have to keep measuring for all these windows. I'm going to measure from the top center, that way one half of that, and this way one half of that. And then same thing at the bottom. I'm then going to use the laser, draw a line between the two, and boom, there it is. I have the top line and the bottom line of my windows, top and bottom of my windows, and then I'm going to have the sides. So there we have the window is going to appear, and then I cut that out, knock out the center. And that's it for now. I'll be back in a second. So it took a bit of playing, but I got it. Half of the 75.55 is 37.77. So that is what we're going to use for our measurement. Let me put hold on a second. Put this calculator down. Alright, so I'm going to take this measurement, this 37, well, see, I bumped it, and now it's 37.76. Nope, too far. That's how touchy this is. Whatever, it doesn't really matter, I'm close. That much isn't going to make a difference, nobody's going to see it. Oh, but I'm so prideful. That is close enough. I'm going to lock that in. Oh no, but I want... Oh, I'm not going to play anymore. Okay. Oh, we're there. We're there. That's close enough. We're there. Maybe if I just bump it. Nope. Oh, we got it. Kind of. Close enough. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to measure. You can use this side and mark it there, or the inside and mark it along there. So right here, where this piece is going to be the outer edge of the window. This is the center of the window, and then if I do it like this, this is the other outside of the window. So that's what I'm going to do. If you didn't understand before, top and bottom, 2 marks right there. And then 2 marks at the bottom. Draw with the laser the lines, and then I have the outline of my windows. Now I'm going to do something very similar, but kind of different. So we're going to make these windows the standard width up there and there, but these are going to be little cupola windows. So I'm not going to cut out the whole hole, the entire hole right there and right there. I'm only going to cut out this bottom portion, and then I have to make the cupolas and basically outline them and then cut that out. So that's going to take some doing, some thinking. I'm thinking about down here because I want to put a door right there and a double window right here. So I'm thinking right there is good enough. This little square that I inadvertently made, I think I'm just going to cut that out and then put a door in right here, and I think that'll look good. So I don't know. Right there is center between this line and that edge. So if I center a door on that, it's going to be centered between here and there, but I might kind of make it look lopsided, so I don't know. I might redo the measurements down here and just figure it out. Up here, I'm not going to make windows on the second floor. I'm going to put a big double French door, and I'm going to make that into a big window. A big door into a big window. Fancy one. Who knows what I'm going to do? Maybe a spider web or something. So that's it for now. I showed you guys how to do that. How to find, the width and transfer the width of, your windows. We already got the top and the bottom. That was the last video, and this one's about the vertical lines. And I just showed you guys how to transfer the width onto there and to make more vertical lines to get that. So once you have your windows and doors drawn out, then you're going to take your oscillating tool. At least this is how I'm doing it. This guy, oscillating tool, and you're going to want to cut along those lines very, very carefully. Cut on the line, push it through, cut out the shape, and get it out. Now some things like the floor, I'm going to be cutting blind into the floor behind it. I don't want to actually go into the side of the floor, and I don't want to go beneath it. So what I'm going to do is push it through on the side of, say, the window or the door, okay? Or the door. This would be a door concern. I'm going to push it through where I know the floor is not. And then I'm going to do all the way up and around and down. And then on the inside, after I've cut through, I know, I can follow the line on the inside down to the edge of the floor and then cut flush with the floor the rest of the hole to make my door. So that's how I'm going to do that. The windows I'm not concerned about. I can just follow the lines. There's not going to be anything in the way. I can just cut right through it. So So yeah, there. It's I'm going to cut out the rest of the windows and the doors. There's an option of how you can do it. You don't have to do it my way, but you know, I'm putting some thought into it, and this will at least give you some considerations when you're doing it your way. You know, you always learn something from somebody. You can always take a lesson out of it, and knowledge is extremely valuable. That's the point of my channel. I'm giving it away for free. So I hope you guys found this video informative. I hope you guys have an outstanding day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. On that note, sometimes I don't get to tagging my videos right away. I'm a new channel. I only have 17 subscribers right now. Maybe, hopefully sometime this century we'll hit 20. Sometimes I don't get to tagging my videos to make them more searchable. So if you don't like, share, or subscribe, specifically subscribing, you might not get an update. If you're waiting on this next video, you're probably not going to get an update until a couple days after I put it out. Okay, so if you need the video immediately, don't forget to subscribe. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have an outstanding day. I'm out.